My name is Jose Miranda, and I will be interviewing Luke, who is an athlete here at WSU. I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Luke Porter. I'm a junior here at WSU. I do the decathlon here for the Wichita State track and field team. So the decathlon is kind of it's a multi-event track and field discipline. I do, sprints, jumps, hurdles, long distance, kind of all of it. So have a good time.
Were there any other sports that you played while growing up?
Yeah, dude, I was a four-sport athlete in high school. I played football, basketball, and I did track and baseball during the year. But yeah, growing up, did a little bit of soccer, but that's about it. I was always doing sports.
So was track your favorite one then?
Track was always definitely one that I looked forward to. I always told people my favorite sport was whatever the one I was in at the moment. But as I got older, I enjoyed track and field more. Yeah.
What's your favorite event?
My favorite event, I would probably have to put it as the 1,500 meter at the end of the decathlon. So when you do a decathlon, you do 10 events, obviously, but they have to be in order. Every single decathlon has to be the same. You have to start and end with the last event. And the 1,500 meter run is always the last event, so it's almost a mile. And everybody's tired by the end of it, but it's one of my best events. And so I always enjoy going out there, running it, winning it if I can, and just, having a good time.
So it's probably something about that mental challenge, you've already done everything and now it's the last one where you give whatever else you have, right?
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. I always tell people, people always come up to me and they're like, dude, how do you do the decathlon? I could never do it. I'm like, you could, dude. It's honestly, it's a mental battle more than a physical battle. Because at the end, the best feeling is just getting done and just being like, whoa, I just did that. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's definitely something you feel accomplished by the end.
And since you mentioned mental, how do you stay positive?
During the event?
During the events, whether you win, lose, and halfway through, knowing that you're only halfway through.
Yeah, dude, that's for sure. I think that's a big part of the decathlon. I think it's honestly you do a lot of training, physically. I'm training 5 hours a day, 6 days a week, and I'm doing a lot of physical training. But I think it's also mental training, while you do that too, because I'm mentally getting myself ready to do track and field for 5 hours, in a row, in a day. And I think, honestly, a competition is different, for sure. But I think staying optimistic is one of the biggest things, because you can have a bad event. I could go and run the 100 in 11 and a half seconds, and I'm like, dude, what did I just do? I just crapped the bed. I just ran terribly. But, I gotta you gotta refocus, reorient your perspective and be okay, that's okay. I can work with it. We're gonna have a good day, this doesn't have to define my decathlon. I'm gonna go over the long jump and I'm just gonna put out a humongous jump. I'm gonna go out there and jump 23 feet because if I do that, I can make up my score,
Yeah.
And I think just staying positive is just a huge thing in going event by event. Because if you look at it at a whole thing while you're doing it, you're going to get engulfed by it, and it's just not going to be good.
So you just basically don't let it affect the rest of your stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and you have to take it event by event, man, because it's a long day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of running, what animal do you think you can outrun?
That's a good question.
Yeah. What's the fastest animal you think you can outrun?
Oh man, the fastest. It would have to be oh man, I'm trying to think. I mean, animals are fast, dude. They got those 4 legs. They're quick. I feel some dogs.
Yeah.
Not the super fast ones. You get shoot. I'm trying to think of strong dogs, a Great Dane. I feel those things are kind of fast. I don't even know.
I feel that's what they used to race. But,
yeah.
But the average dog you could probably outrun.
I feel the average.
If a pit bull was running at you.
Oh yeah, I'd be able to outrun. I've done that before actually on some long runs. But give me a set of spikes and we get on the track and we race. I feel the average dog I could probably outrun.
Might have to do that. I got a couple dogs.
Oh no, I'm gonna get toasted.
Yeah. And you already kind of mentioned what's rewarding is just finishing the whole event, that decathlon. But what's like the most challenging?
The most challenging part of it.
Yeah, part of it.
Honestly, dude, I'd say the most. I feel like it's different for every decathlon. Like, there's always like that point where you look back, you're like, dude, that point I was at a low. You know, it's like, but you always got to decide to just like look back up. I'd say the most challenging part is waking up after day one though, because you do the decathlon takes 2 days, so you do 5 events one day and you do 5 events the second day. And the 400 is your last event on the first day, and you got the 110 hurdles, first event on the second day. And dude, just waking up after that and feeling how sore you are, and it just like hits you. You're like, shoot, I gotta run the hurdles, I gotta run the mile, I gotta pole vault, I gotta throw the disc, I gotta throw the javelin. Like I feel like that's one time where you're always just like,
the next day after, like the halfway point, basically.
The halfway point, yeah, basically.
And have you had any injuries?
Yeah, so kind of bigger injuries in my life. I mean, being an athlete, you always have some minor injuries. I broke my ankle playing basketball in high school. I broke my wrist playing baseball in high school. But the biggest one I had was this last January. I actually got a stress fracture in my L5 vertebrae. And it was really hard. It was a tough time. I competed at my indoor conference championship meet, kind of threw it. I knew I had something wrong with me, but I hadn't gotten an MRI yet. And then after that, I took like 3 to 4 months off, and I came back and competed at my outdoor conference championship meet. And yeah, it was difficult. So,
how did that affect you mentally though? Like, especially like after, like, were you like trying to be super safe after your injury, or were you kind of like, okay, I'm better, I'm back at it?
As far as like after the recovery portion of it?
During the recovery and right after.
I think mentally for me, like coming back and like one of my first meets being a championship meet, I think mentally I don't think I was prepared in the sense of like what I told you, like I wasn't practicing 5 hours a day. So like mentally I wasn't ready for like the 5 hours a day, in a row competition. Like I was mentally drained like halfway through, and I didn't do as good on some of the events because I was so mentally drained. But I think like I was honestly a little scared too, just in some of the events that I knew had like hurt my my L5 quite a bit. So like some events in like the high jump, I didn't come from like a full approach just because I was nervous. I didn't know like how like my back was going to be able to handle it, and I knew I needed to like conserve my energy for the entire decathlon, and that was only the 4th event or something like that. But yeah, I think just being nervous on it, and
And so like for practice, do you guys have, actually practice like any kind of injury prevention kind of stuff, or even like mental health part of it? Because sometimes you can get a small injury, but mentally you think it's something big.
Yeah, so I've talked to, this is one thing that I feel like the AD, Kevin Saul, has done a really good job of. He's been promoting us to go to the mental health doctors that we have on campus, and I feel bad, I'm forgetting the name of the woman that we have on the track and field team, but we have a guy, his name's DJ, Dr. DJ, and he's really cool. I've gotten to talk to him a lot. He played football in college, a little bit at Ohio State, and then one at like a smaller college. But yeah, he's super good guy, and I mean a lot of my teammates, will talk very highly of him. I know one of my teammates, hurdler named Brian Haney, he scored really well at like our conference championship meet, and he was just like, yeah, it was all DJ. Like DJ helped him a lot, and I think it's something that's really coming up now in like college athletics, especially because my coach talks about how he never had any of this, and he was like, you guys need to take advantage of this resource. This is good. Talking about like in college athletics, being able to like visualize what you're doing, and like the whole like mental like side of it, and then also like you're saying, like talking about injuries is like really important, because if you're not good mentally, you're not going to perform well at all. You have to be on the same page.
Right. And so I assume that you probably get yourself in a certain mind state when you're competing, kind of like Kobe. Yeah,
Mhm.
where he kind of developed that Mamba mentality while he's in the game. He's not friends with anybody, but then outside of the game, he's not competitive and he's just best friends with everyone.
Exactly, man. Yeah, that Mamba mentality, Kobe, he knew what he was doing, you know? He was visualizing what he needed to do, how he was going to do it, and that's how you execute, for sure. You need that.
And then, do you do anything on your own time, like anything to prevent, like for like injury prevention exercises, or like maybe meditate for mental health types, anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm a practicing Roman Catholic, and one thing that actually, you know, yesterday that I just got done doing, I pray a holy hour every week, which is like I meditate or I pray for like an hour every week, and then I do at least 10 minutes every other day. But man, I do my holy hour every Wednesday, and that's like a reset point for me. And then I go to a service on Wednesday and Sunday, and I go to mass on those days, and I feel like that's like a good time for me to just like reorient myself, you know, just like take a moment to like center myself and see like where I'm at, and just to like honestly just like de-stress from the week, because there's a lot and it gets really busy, and to like know that I have, you know, like homework I could be doing or other stuff, but to like just take that hour to like be there,
Yeah.
you know, is like, I think it's really important.
Yeah, that definitely is important. I sometimes have to remind myself to do that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And then for the last question, how are you feeling about transitioning out of school sports?
Out of school sports?
Yeah, because I mean, eventually it's going to
Man.
end.
I know, dude. Eventually, yeah. I've thought about. Oh man, yeah. I've actually recently, with all the new freshmen and newcomers coming onto the team, I've noticed it feels weird. Like, I mean, it feels like just yesterday I was a freshman, and like looking out, we were having like a big group practice, and being like, man, I only know like some of these people were here that were my freshman year. There's hardly anybody left. It's like they're all new people. And it feels weird because now I'm an upperclassman, but I still feel like a freshman. But, I mean, I think going out after college athletics, I think, Sorry, what was the question again?
So,
I got carried
just
away.
like how are you feeling about transitioning out?
Transitioning. Yeah. I think I'm gonna be sad to see it go. I mean, sports has always been a big part of my life, like competing in sports. It's always, honestly, you know, been another way for me to like just like de-stress and just like enjoy life. It's just another, you know, way that I like express like who I am and just like enjoy like what I'm doing, because I've just enjoyed sports my entire life. But I think I'm gonna try to hold on. I want to end up becoming like a sports medicine physician. So I mean, I won't be competing, but I think transitioning out of it is going to be difficult. Like it's definitely gonna be a different, you know, task to be able to like, you know, write my own workouts, you know, like keep doing like my own thing. But I think it's gonna be fun, and I think it's something I'm gonna look forward to accomplishing. So.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you for your time, Luke.
Thanks, Jose.